Good morning. This is a message for, I guess, that nigga with the tattoos. From time to time, this is a YouTube personality, and from time to time, I check out his channel. When I had my old channel, I used to subscribe. Um, I found that he talked about a lot of the things that are on my heart and mind, and that interest me, but I don't necessarily speak out on. In addition to that, though, you don't always agree with everything that someone says. There's some things that I found that he said that, I don't necessarily agree with, and things that I question. But one of his videos that caught my attention was one that he made not too long ago. It's called "Free Thinking is Now Considered a Mental Illness." And I wanted to respond to that video. And to be honest with you, I was, again, a little scared to respond to it um, by video, or through YouTube, by video, or through the internet and anything like that, because it is one of those subjects that's really touchy. It is something that's kind of intermingled with all of these, and people need to stop saying conspiracy theories, because that stuff is happening. It's no longer a conspiracy or a theory. It is real, and it's not even being denied. People are just not talking about it because I think people realize it. And what he stated, that main idea that he stated in that video, free thinking is now considered a mental illness, that's something that I've known for a long time, and that even when I'm almost 40, but even when I was in high school, like in the late 80s, um, some of my teachers even talked about it. They were like, know your history, and um, you know they're slowly incorporating these commercials, about mental health, and, are you depressed? Are you sad? And that type of thing. And it's a method of control. Because what happens is that if you allow yourself to be labeled these things for emotions that are very human, then what ends up happening is that you're relinquishing, you know, you think, oh, well, something must be wrong. I'm not feeling good today. You're relinquishing, your right to feel. You are human. You're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to be sad. And just like him, I think everybody in this world with an alternative point of view has been called crazy at one time or another. And sometimes it's a matter of mere perspective. I used to live in Overtown. I used to be, believe it or not, you can't tell now, but in really good shape. And Overtown is like the quote unquote premier black community in Miami. And I used to be in good shape about 7 years ago. I used to run and jog, and they would say, "Oh, she's crazy." You know what I'm saying? Because that's different for them. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that black people do. And of course, every woman has had a situation where they have been, with a mate or whatever, and they've been, if they found something they wasn't supposed to find, oh, she's crazy. So people throw that word around loosely, and that type of word is one of those things that it puts some haunting suspicion over your head, and people don't even really have to qualify it, you know, and it sticks, and it can have an effect, And the other thing about that too is that now, with the advent of all these different quote unquote mental health, mental health problems that have been put into that book that you're talking about, I mean, that you cannot not just call somebody crazy. You actually can probably match it up to something in that book. And I'm gonna tell you, because what made me look into this was that a, a few years ago I was falsely accused and convicted of a crime. They first and stuff for intellectual property and trade secrets. Then they changed it so many times. If you've ever been in the legal system, that's what happened. They keep changing it until they get whatever sticks. Basically, it was appealed, and I didn't even get to finish the appeal process, but it was thrown out, and they tried to put two: theft of intellectual property and trade secrets, and it ended up where they had to stick something, so it was like unauthorized I sent an unauthorized email was what the thing said. But if you want to Google it, you can. It's out there. But what I wanted to tell you is that what made me look into that is as a result of that legal situation, and because I'm in South Florida, I didn't have family, I didn't have friends here. They court ordered me to a homeless shelter, and through that process of going through that situation with different types of people, I heard like and in the shelters you're divided up into dorms, either male or female dorms, and the women, I have to tell you, when you put a bunch of women together that have a lot of problems, legitimate problems, financial, abuse, drugs, alcohol, maybe mental problems resulting from all of that, and to me, all of those things can be resolved with true love, but it has to be from somebody that they're willing to accept it from, in the purest form, not relationship, but just pure love. When they get into arguments, they throw around, oh, that person's bipolar, that person's schizophrenic, this person this. And I was like, boy, I never even heard of all these words, So I'm like, what are these things and why are they throwing them around like it's nothing? And I'm like, I bet they don't even know what those things mean. And a lot of people in the shelters and that type of thing have been diagnosed with those issues. Now I'm going to tell you the stigma that goes along with quote unquote homelessness and whatever is that one, either you're on drugs, or two, you have a mental problem, so they try to put you into either category. Then there's people that are fortunate enough to be, put into a category where, oh, they're just getting themselves off their feet. Then to me, there's a separate category, I think, of where the law gets involved, and when the law court orders you there, depending on your previous situation and your support system and your desire to learn. Because like for me at first I was like, wow, really, because I never really knew that homelessness was a real thing. But stemming from there, I was just like, wow, this is a learning opportunity. This is what, homeless shelters look like, homeless people are. There's different variations, all these different things. But so that's what made me look into it, was because of being in the shelter and hearing them, use those words repeatedly, um, back and forth. So what I did was I looked up a list of mental illnesses, because my theory at that point was that, wow, because some of the things that I was hearing was that they would prescribe medicine to anybody that wanted it, pretty much. These people just being diagnosed left and right with stuff, and then people would get addicted to that, and they would just go to the whoever the, I guess, psychiatrist is, and just tell them, oh, I'm feeling this way, I need more of this, and then they would get the medication, not even need it, and take it and sell it to those people that were addicted. So that stuff I'm gonna tell you. Because this man, that nigga with the tattoos, he talks a lot about conspiracy theories and things, and how the government's and that's one of the things. I think the people that are not that are free thinking, that are not labeled, with a mental illness, or that are not, otherwise putting themselves intentionally into misery's way, having a bunch of kids somewhere and just living a wild, raucous lifestyle. That's the other way to kind of get them, charge them with a crime, bring them through the legal system, change their perception of the world. A lot of money is made off of people's misery. So I just wanted to say that. And then I wanted to go through the list of mental orders in Wikipedia. I don't know. If you go to, if you just do a search for list of mental orders in Wikipedia, they have, and like he said, things are being updated and added to that list all the time. So when you think about it, if you've ever had a legal situation, a legal problem, or any type of problem, really legal problem, and Lord knows, people that are on drugs and things like that, they've been through things that probably, all of that's put together. You have a problem, you have a legal situation, you know, and some people resort to ways to remedy, the stress from the legal situation, and they, do things that, might not be good for them, and it just goes around, and people are not managing it well. Fortunately for me, I manage very well. So the first one here is acute stress disorder. So acute stress disorder, it says, is a psychological condition arising in response to a terrifying or traumatic event. But if you look at all of these, like I said, you will find, like, if you look at any of these, you can probably diagnose anyone with any of these things.